All right. So top 8 debate. We have party games. Once again, ranked from Board Game Geek. We picked the top 8. Uh, Now let's just list them off real quick, and then we will get into the first round. Number one seed out of this is Codenames.
Mm-hmm.
Number two,
I think it's Decrypto.
yep,
I haven't broken down the brackets. Yeah, it's Decrypto.
yep. Number three will be Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Number 4 is Sushi Go Party.
Number five is Just One.
Number 6 is Mysterium.
Number seven is The Resistance.
And number 8 is Dixit.
All right, so our first round
So
is
we got
going to
some
be.
spiel winners in this bracket.
We have no less than three Spiel winners and others that were nominated.
Yeah, so
Um,
this is. So, 1, 2, 3 winners.
yep,
Was Sushi Go was nominated, right?
I believe it was. I might be wrong, but I do believe it was. Most of these games I want to point out are under like $20 even. Um, yeah, most of them are. Uh, Two games from Libeland, Mysterium and Dixit, both both of there. Decrypto and Codenames have been compared a lot because they are both like word clue giving games,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then social deduction. There's only two social deduction. There's the resistance and deception.
Deception.
Yep.
And it's funny because they're social deduction, but they play in completely different
Yeah.
ways.
And then two games that have the clue givers, which is Mysterium and Deception.
And then you
So,
got Dixit.
and then Dixit somewhere in there. Yeah. No,
All right,
Mysterium and Dixit. Yeah.
you ready to do this debate?
Let's do it. All right.
Codenames versus Dixit. I will go ahead and take Dixit because
Okay.
I know you'll argue the mess out of Codenames.
I will, and I'm going to start by arguing the mess out of code names. First off, I want to point out the comment that was given to us. Would you mind bringing that up real quick on our poll?
I'm pulling that up right now. I have it saved. So the comment it says by Eric Stabo, and this is off Board Game Revolution group on Facebook.
Uh huh.
And this is I like codenames for big casual groups because the sides can be uneven and people can drop in and out mid game if necessary.
Yep, you need a minimum for the duet version. You need two people. For the normal version, you need a minimum of four. Technically, three will work, but it's not technically. But minimum of four players, but up to a ridiculous amount. I mean, it
Yeah.
says eight on the box. You could really go up to like 12 to 16. Um, Eric brought up a really good point. People can go in and out of the game. This was one of those few years on the Spiel des Jahres that it was very clear that this was going to win. It was without a doubt because
There's another game on the list that was another one of those that clear winner
yeah,
kind of game, especially what it went up against, and we'll get to it when we talk about it later.
right, exactly. And Codenames has that beautiful thing where where you're trying it's standards it's along the standard clue giving games where you have to portray information as efficiently as possible with restrictions. And there's a lot of games that do that, but this does it really well because I'm trying
So
to
you
get
can, it's one word in one number, correct?
one word and the number of how many cards it pertains to. So
Yeah.
if I'm trying to get you to guess cow, pig, and butterfly, I might say living. But if there's like say rooster as one of the other words, and it's there and it's not one I want you to pick, that then made it way more difficult for me because then
Because it's Minesweeper, I guess you can say. There's a minefield or mine on that field, and if you guess it, you automatically lose.
yeah, the assassin tile, exactly. If you guess that, your team is gone. And then of course you don't want to give points to the other team by getting them to guess it.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. And I like the duet version where you're playing cooperatively, where there's some that you need to guess on your side, some that I need to guess on mine. It's so smart and infinite number of plays, different variations, the way the cards are laid out in like a $20 box. Oh my god, it's worth it. So my vote is obviously for Codenames because it handles the party and it's a riot every time. It's a brain burnery puzzle and it's super fun.
And my argument for Dixit is going to be very hard to go up against Codename for one thing. Uh, just because Codenames, even for me, that is such a really good game, and we haven't even explained why, but I will in a little bit. But for Dixit, um, it was one of the few games that actually introduced me into modern board gaming. It was one of the first games I've ever played. Talking about back in the last couple episodes how some of these games have a nostalgia feel to me because this is when I started getting into the hobby, and Dixit was one of them. For me, Dixit is an interesting game, but it can't hold as many as Codenames. I think it can only hold up to 6 or 7, something like that, with
I
some
think out of the
expansions, maybe
box, it's
8.
yeah. With the expansions, it can go higher. I think out of the box, it's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, so that's a detractor for it. But what I like about it is you can play this game with casual gamers. You can play this game with people who never really played board games and still have a good time with it. It's what you do is you have like these beautiful art cards, and you're trying to come up with, say, Harry Potter, and you're trying to get some people to guess what you have, but you don't want everybody to guess it because you don't get no points. If nobody guesses, you get no points. And
Right.
so if they vote for other people, those people get points, but it just, you're trying to make it, the artwork match what you're trying to say. So, like, if I say Harry Potter and I have a picture of a trophy, and someone puts out like brooms, and someone puts out like owls and pictures of owls and stuff like that, you're there. You're just like, ooh, this is not going to be good. I might not get points because there's so much here. I just need one person to pick up what I put out, and it's such a good activity, I guess you could say.
Right. Yeah, and for that, it was the first one that really did it. It was the first game that brought in the gorgeous cards, the big giant like tile of style cards that had a lot of good or beautiful art. But that's kind of been Libelun's like factor. They
Yeah,
do that. They've made about 7 or 8 games on top of that now. I'm exaggerating. It's probably more like 5 or so, but that all use the art cards. And there's other games that like party wise, Muse. That's a perfect one from Quick Simple Fun Games, and
yeah,
that's a team versus team game where you're giving those clues as well. And then so they counteracted with Mysterium, which we'll talk about later, and One Key, and um, uh, there's the new one that starts with an O.
Obscurio.
Obscurio, yeah. And so they all kind of use that same vague factor. I'll give it credit because it really did come up with that. It made famous the I need some people to guess my card, but not everybody.
Yeah,
And you have to
and
walk that fine line.
yeah,
But
and to me, it's a nostalgia thing too.
yeah,
In fact, as much as I like Dixit, one of the games you've already mentioned, Mysterium, I'll play the mess out of it. It really killed Dixit for me because it actually gives you more of an activity, um, a goal, I guess you can say, instead of
yeah,
like racing to this many points, whereas Mysterium gives you that goal. So
right.
in this one, of course, once again, the number one seed is moving on. My vote is Codenames as well. I'll play
Yep.
Codenames over Dixit any day of the week.
Yeah, just because if nothing else, it's just a better game. Like
Well,
hands
and
down.
it's not just that. The thing is, with code names nowadays, you have your flavor. You choose your flavor that you want. You got Harry Potter, you got Simpsons, you got Disney, you got Marvel, you
Yep.
got God, who knows how much. You got your basic Dixit, you got your pick or code names, you got your pictures, you got your duets.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. I yeah, I couldn't agree more. Codenames, we are sending up to the next round.
yeah,
Awesome. So, let's go into the second round. That is Decrypto versus the Resistance. Now, I have a lot of experience with Decrypto. Um, I probably have way too much experience with the Resistance. Uh,
I'm gonna give you the resistance, and you know why.
Unfortunately, I do. Okay. Um, yeah, okay. All right. You go ahead and go first.
Okay, so of course, my choice here is Decrypto, and there's a reason why it's number two on the party games. It's such a fun game. I've only played it a handful of times, and I've had a blast playing it. And what's cool is got that little film thing, so you're trying to use the film thing, get your answers and stuff like that to the person, and it's again, it's guesses too. But you're
Yep.
not only trying to guess yours, you're trying to guess what the other team is doing too. Because if they don't get it, you can try to steal their idea by their clues and stuff like that. So you don't want to be too vague, but you don't want to be too on the nose. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to me, I had a good time. And my favorite memory of that is when we played it, and our guess was pig, and my clue to you was Muppet, and you were looking at it like, which one can it be? And you're like, oh, it's pig.
Yep. And they could have, yeah, exactly. And you have to go. It's one of those levels where you have to go vague enough, but then also specific enough that your team will get it. If your team doesn't guess the sequence, you lose a
Yeah,
point, or you get one penalty marker. But if your opponent's team gets the sequence because you're too obvious about it,
yeah,
you know,
they get the yeah.
they get the point.
So it's like, and the thing is, before anything guesses, you have to tell the other team what your clues are
Yeah.
before your partner can guess. So it's like, hey, I picked this, pick this, and this. What do you guys think it is?
Right. Yeah.
And so
No.
that's what I really really enjoy about Decrypto. I had a really good time playing it, and I want to own it. I want to own my own copy. Just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet because I just don't play a lot of party games itself.
I've heard it's really good on like video chat. Like you just have it up where only your group can see it, and then the other group, or they just like write down the words. You know, it's like all right, here's the sequence card. I'm looking away. Here it is, 241 or whatever. Put it
Yeah,
down, and then I get it, and they just write it down. And
it'd be interesting. To be truthfully honest,
yeah,
I had an idea what we can do. Say somewhere down the line before we go back into the debate is we can play horrified and just have one board be run
oh
and
yeah,
the other board could be like a visual for me basically if we're playing it.
yeah. We'll have to do that later today, because that
Yeah.
that actually works really well. Yeah, no, I agree. Decrypto is phenomenal. So I know why you made me pick the Resistance, and I'm gonna tell the viewers a little story of why the Resistance. So don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the Resistance. I haven't played it in months because, or probably years to this point, because of the quote Danny's a spy. And what ended up happening was I have a good friend who is great at metagaming, and that's really what this game is about. Every level, to tell you what the game does, it's 5 to 10 players. Everybody is either part of the resistance, who's going on these missions to try and overthrow the government, or the post-apocalyptic anarchy. I don't really know what the setting is. It's kind of like sci-fi, but the other the bad people are the spies, and the spies are basically informants, and they don't want the resistance to know that they are spies, of course. So you have a hidden role. You look at it, and from there you're sent on a series of missions. People vote whether you do that or not, and then everybody puts in a card whether it's a success or a fail. If you're part of the resistance, it must be a success. If you are part of the spies, you can choose either success or fail, depending on what makes sense. And then best of five rounds. First team to get 3 wins, whether it failed or success, they win the game. However, in the very first round with 5 people, there's only 2 that go on a mission. If somebody picks, like for example, if me and Daniel are playing, and he picks me to go on the mission and it votes to go through, it would be the most ridiculous thing to throw a fail that early. You would oust yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a 50-50 chance. Like, all right, it's either Daniel or me. Who's going to be the spy if you fail it? So almost nobody does that, right? It's almost a guaranteed
Yeah.
wash. However, what happened was we had played this. This was probably like the third or fourth time that month that we had played it. And my friend Jim was so good at metagaming it. And he would just, very simple, it's like, oh yeah, so Danny's the spy. Yeah. It's like, I'm not always a spy. Oh, Danny's a spy. It's fine. It's like, so when you look at the spy, Danny, we're all gonna vote whether you want him to go on the mission, which you don't because he's a spy. And he kept like, he would explain it to new people like this. Well, sure enough, the very first mission that happened, 2 players, him and I went on it. I was not a spy. I was part of the resistance. And then so I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Him and I will go through it. It'll succeed. We'll be good. Shuffle up to 2 cards, flip, flip it over. Success, fail, and everybody just looks at me. Danny, well, that was fast. And then everybody's stare. I'm looking at the entire table, looking at me. Everybody's in shock because I failed it somehow. And then Jim is holding back the strongest laugh that he's.
And luckily for him, he's got that beard that helps him hide his
Yeah,
face.
he's got the beard, and that was one of those events that could only ever happen once.
Yeah.
Only ever happen once.
So me, another main reason there's that, and then another main reason why I didn't with the Resistance. I don't like the game. Honestly, to be truthfully honest, I'm not a huge fan of social deduction games like the Resistance. There is an exception, which we're going to be talking about in the next round.
Right.
But there's stuff that actually mitigate in that game. Whereas this one, once someone can metagame it, you're not going to beat them, no matter if they're a spy or something else. And this is one of those games that fall into that trap. Once someone gets really, really good at it, there's no way to alleviate that.
Right. Yeah, I feel like at the end of the Resistance, once you've played a round of, or once you've played a game of it, everybody at the group, like let's say there's 9 people, they're done. They're like, the Resistance won. I was a spy. Oh, okay. So were you. We like you have that kind of like calms, like, oh man, we didn't win. Oh well, that was a bummer. Um, but like it doesn't seem like it's a party setting game. I mean, like
Yeah, and
whereas like
the
Werewolf
thing is, you
is.
don't really have a lot of people that can play it too.
Right.
It's what 5 people can have max.
No, 10. 5 to
10.
10.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a bigger range of people than Decrypto. Decrypto is also 4 to 8 as well, so it has a better range, 5 to 10.
I
Uh,
just find Decrypto a better game in itself too, because for me with Resistance, yeah, it's fun, but you're more about reading. It's kind of like the difference between blackjack and poker, and with Resistance being the poker because you're reading the table rather than playing the game. Where blackjack,
right,
you're just reading the dealer's cards.
right. Whereas in that, I love the different levels of like in Decrypto where you're saying, oh well, they said this, they said Muppet and bacon and and
Yeah,
and chicharrones. It's like, okay, I know what they're going with here now. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure we could guess. It's Miss Piggy over here. Where,
yeah.
but it's that deduction that everybody is working together. I like that far more better. That cooperative team effort
Mm-hmm.
versus the hidden information where everybody's shifty eye. My vote's
Yeah.
for Decrypto.
My vote's for Decrypto too. A
Cool.
big part of it is because I am not a huge fan of Resistance or that style of play, really. Because again, the metagaming can really hurt the Resistance.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right. So now we are on Deception, Murder in Hong Kong versus Mysterium.
And this probably is my favorite bracket, and it hurts that they're going up against each other.
I know it's really tough because those are both so good of games. I know which one you want to pick. You want to pick Deception. I'm sure. I will gladly pick
I
Mysterium.
can go either way with either one of them. In fact, I've been threatened to lose a friendship if I don't pick Mysterium to go through.
Really? Who's threatened you?
My friend Maria, because that's one of her. That is probably her favorite game. And so I will go ahead and let you take Deception, Murder in Hong Kong,
Okay.
and I'll take Mysterium because I actually have a good argument for Mysterium.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I do own both and I like them both and they kind of like kill each other.
Honestly,
But
these two right here are probably my favorite party games. In
yeah.
my trio with Tumbling Dice and Time or whatever Quadrology with Deception, Mysterium. Those are Mysterium, Deception, Tumbling Dice, and Time's Up are my 4 that I go to for big parties.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, they are phenomenal picks. I just love the fact that they were our number 3 seed versus our number 6 seed. That's just crazy that's how that worked out. Oh,
Yeah.
I do want to clarify one thing with Dixit though, real quick. So Dixit is our number 8 seed, even though Dixit Odyssey is ranked higher than Mysterium. We just wanted to say that the base set, that's why we put it as our number 8 seed. Anyway,
Yes.
going back to that Deception. Deception, Murder in Hong Kong is a phenomenal game. It is social deduction to an extent. What the way it works is that since it is social deduction, you will have somebody who is the murderer, and every most people don't know who the murderer is. Everybody is normally just an informant. But you do have the what do they
The
call it?
accomplice.
The
The accomplice.
they have the accomplice, but who is the person giving the clues?
So that is the forensic investigator, I think
The
is what it's called.
forensic investigators. So they are giving clues. They know who the king or who the murderer is, and they are giving very vague clues, like where the location of the body was found, what state was it in. Um,
So we have to describe this real quick for people who haven't played Deception and Murder Hong Kong. So this can hold up to a lot of players, especially the expansion. So it just depends. It
it's like
scales.
12 to 16 or something.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think maximum is 13 if you have the expansion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, which is a lot.
Um, yeah, and so what's going to happen is you're going to have two rows of cards, four cards each. One is going to be the motive, and one's going to be the murder weapon.
Okay.
And so when you're the murderer, you got to pick out two of those, one on the top row and one on the bottom row. And so what the forensic investigator is trying to point people to who the murderer is and what cards they picked.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you take a guess, you have to guess who the murderer is and what was his motive and what was his weapon of choice. And so the forensic investigator is trying to point that out by using some boards that he has in front of him.
Yeah.
And so another thing about Deception Murder in Hong Kong is more people you get, the more roles there are. So right now, everybody is an investigator, but then you have your murderer, and you have when you reach a certain point, you have someone, an accomplice, and then you have a witness if you go further on and stuff like that.
Anyway. Sorry.
But yeah, so that's how Deception Murder in Hong Kong works. Is that it scales, and then you have to pick these certain things out by the forensic investigator.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a solid game, but it goes to the same idea that Mysterium does. Or I'm sorry, not Mysterium, but that the Resistance does is that there's one team versus a much larger team, and they're just trying to wait out the rest of the people long enough, which has some great moments. And the same thing that happened during my very first time ever playing Deception happened because of Jim in Resistance, is he kept claiming that I was the spy or the murderer. He metagamed it before the game ever started, and then I happened to be the murderer in like a
And
10
he was
person game.
the assistant, which makes it even more
Right. And then
hilarious.
so it was like wait, really? Like are you kidding me? Like uh and our friend Bryce who was chatting earlier, he was the one who was running the game, and he had to really stop himself when he saw that I was looking him in the eye. I was like, "All right, murderer, open your eye." I'm sorry. And he was like, "Are you kidding? Like really?" Um it's so ridiculous. So that it creates those moments, like inside joke kind of moments is what that creates, which is perfect for what you want in a party.
This is
So
tough for me to choose between the two, but I would have to pick Deception. Yeah, that's Bryce's saying on this bracket.
yeah, this is turf for me to choose between the two, but I would pick Deception. Yeah, yeah, this is or tough. Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, Deception's really good, but I know what
And
my
then,
pick is. Let's hear your argument first.
so my choice, of course, is being Mysterium here. And other than Deception being able to hold more people, Mysterium is one of the first games that could hold up to 7 people that I've ever owned. And it was my go-to choice for party games at the time because I didn't really have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like I said about Dixon, it does this abstracted thing where it gives you cards to give you clues, and you have to work through levels. So you have to find each person has to find their suspect. They have to find the location, and they have to find the murder weapon as they're going along, while trying to make proper choices. This way, they can because you only have 7 rounds to do this. So you got to get through these 3 levels with the clues that you're given by the spirit, who cannot talk. All he can do is pass
Yep.
cards to you. And the only time we allow him to talk is when he's saying, "Hey, I'm giving this to the yellow player. Hey, I'm giving these to the blue player." Because with 7 people, randomly, willy nilly around the table, it's a lot. It's harder for them to basically, here, these are your cards. Here's yellow players' cards and stuff like that. That's all he's allowed to say. He can't mention anything and stuff like that. And so that's what I like about it is it has 6 investigators and then one ghost who's trying to give the clues to who murdered that person, because we're all, what is it, psychic investigators, I
Yep.
guess you can say, who are having a seance trying to find out who murdered this guy.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what I really like about it, because it's so abstracted, but everybody's getting the same information. So like I'm getting the cards in front of me and I can make a guess myself, but I have
Go on.
other people on the on my team who are thinking, oh no, it's not the maid, it's this person over here because he's going here because of the colors that are matching this card. And to me, it's a really good game. And my big argument for it is there are people who willingly play this game who do not like board gaming. They're just not a huge board gaming fan. And Mysterium is the one that we're like, hey, let's play Mysterium. I really dig that game. Let's play Mysterium. So it's like, okay, let's play Mysterium. And they're not board gamers. They're just like, okay, fine. If we're gonna play a board game, we're gonna play board game. But they're more like, ooh, if we're gonna play a board game, can we play Mysterium? And so that to me is one of the reasons why I think Mysterium should move on. It's just accessibility, and it gets more people to the table who are not really into that social deduction type style.
Exactly. So, sorry for the viewers at home. I was wearing the promo mask for Mysterium, very spooky, even like painted like Mysterium. It's pretty awesome. I so happen to have a copy. Yeah, no, Mysterium is fantastic. It's really one of those great games. We're both on the theme of murder, right?
Yeah,
Mysterium and deception. Someone's murdered. You're trying to figure out who it is. However, deception puts the players in an uncomfortable situation that some are the ones who did it, and that might oust some people. Um, I I
Bryce
would have
posted
picked
pick
Mysterium.
Mysterium, but I like the new game that just came out that kills it for me, which is Obscuria.
Obscuria, yeah. I don't disagree with that, but the problem is, Mysterium is took the Dixit mechanism and made it good, and
And then
and the
my
fact that
issue with that too is Obscurio has a hidden betrayer in it, and there's not a lot of people that like that kind of mechanic. So I've never played Obscurio, so I can't make too much of a judgment.
yeah
I just think Mysterium would be more accessible because it's strictly just a co-op game.
yeah
Yeah, a lot of people don't like that hidden betrayer type situation where someone's leading you down the road.
right yeah exactly yeah that's a big argument away from it, but
Yeah,
what it boils down to in a party setting, you're all going to be wanting to have a good time together. You want to work together. You want to be cooperative. You want to solve the mystery together. You either all win or all lose. Either way, you had a good time. My vote's Mysterium.
my vote's Mysterium too, all for the same reasons. For that, as much as I like Deception, and it's a great party game, it just puts stress on certain people, and there's certain people who
Yep.
just can't take that kind of situation. Whereas Mysterium just goes down as gangbusters.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's the fact that you have to work together. That's really what
Yeah,
boils it. That's what makes it. That's what makes the.
it's basically a murder mystery game without having to deal with all the other shenanigans. You're just looking at card.
Yep. So wow,
Yeah,
both
they
of our
need to
social
suck it up,
deduction
Buttercup.
games are getting. Huh?
Yeah, they need to suck it up, Buttercup. I think it's to
Yeah.
reference that people don't like hidden trader games.
Right, exactly. But then also, I mean, so you'll notice the resistance and deception both got eliminated, and that's because really social deduction and party games, they are technically one in one, but I feel them as very different things. In a party, I want to be laughing, I want to be having fun. I don't
Exactly.
want to deduce
I
who.
want to have shenanigans, not be like, oh, who did this? Which is pointing to
Yeah,
which and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Oh no, someone's killed. We need to solve it. It was you. No, it's like, oh, it
Especially
was
when you're
them.
playing. And the thing is, like, if you're at a party, there's going to be, for most people, some drinking involved.
Yeah.
And so deception and the resistance doesn't lend themselves to people who are having adult beverages.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It really doesn't. All right. Let's go on to round number 4, the last round in our quarterfinals here, and that is Sushi Go Party and Just One. Which one would you like?
I would like to take Just One. As
Okay,
much as I like Sushi Go, I adore Just One.
I'll take Sushi Go because I have every iteration of it. I have Sushi Go, I have Sushi Go Party, and I have Sushi Roll. So I'll
I
go ahead and
only
take
have
it.
Sushi Go somewhere around here.
Yeah, do you have the party version?
No, I only got the original version. That's because I won in an auction or
Gotcha.
in the raffle.
Cool. All right, so a quick overhead on how Sushi Go Party works. The original base game of Sushi Go is a very simple game. You have a few different types of cards like dumplings, maki rolls, pudding, different kinds of nigiri, and there's a few others, tempura, sashimi, and all of these cards score. Bryce is already calling his favorite. There's a lot of these cards that score in different ways and different combinations. Like, for example, whoever has the most Maki rolls will score points. Whoever has the most, or whoever has the most pudding at the end of the game gets extra points, and whoever has the least gets negative points till the end of the game.
And then there's some that compound on themselves, like the tempura. You need a pair to make
Yep,
points,
you
but
need a pair to get 5 points. Sashimi, you need three to get 10 points. On in there's a few others too that you need sets of dumplings. The more you have, the more they're collectively worth. And there's some special cards too. But the idea is that you have a hand of cards. You pick a single one. You all reveal at the same time. Pass the card to the pass your entire hand to the players on the left. Continue to do that. It makes drafting very simple. Perfect for a party setting because Sushi Go Party lasts up to 8 players. And on top of that, they have like 25 different cards that score in different
and you can
way.
pick and choose as you go in.
And you pick and choose a certain number of appetizers, desserts, and they all have a different unique form of scoring, and it doesn't make the game any longer. It's just like 20-minute game, like 5 to 10 minutes per round. What's up?
Hold on, we're breaking up just slightly. They're not saying anything there, but I'm hearing like a feedback on mine, so
Oh, okay.
just wanted to make sure everything's going properly.
Yep.
Right, everything sounds good. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I saw it cutting out a little bit. Yeah, so like I said, it's a perfect for a party setting if you want to just sit down there. It's like the beer and pretzel style of games, like card games. Like, all right, I'll play this and I'll play this. Like just casual. We're just gonna hang out and play some cards.
I think it's like when you're moving around, the camera's not catching up with you because it starts
Let's see.
getting all.
We're just gonna test out the technical. Yeah, I see it jumping around a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There's still times when you get like really animated, the camera's just like, what's going on? And it's real.
We're not used to this. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep going though, because we do have this recording and we should be able to throw the video up there. Yeah. But Sushi Go, I mean, it has party in the name. It's a solid party game. Plays plenty of players, nice and casual, and on top of that, I'm becoming a huge fan of Phil Walker Harding. What he does is he takes the basic core idea of a game, the basic mechanisms, and boils it down so it's so concentrated and so perfect that it's almost nothing that you could do wrong with it. It's a solid game and easy to play. So, Sushi Go Party. That's my argument for it.
And so my argument will be just one.
Okay.
And honestly, to me, this game has gone down almost in the same vein as Mysterium. I play it with so many different groups, and it's gone down swimmingly, I guess you could say. It's gone down really well. People enjoy the mess out of it, and really what it is it's so simple. You got a deck of cards. You put 13 in the middle. Whoever has to take a guess chooses a number between 1 and 5, and if they pick, let's just say Frankenstein, everybody else at the table has to give one-word clues. So if I say Boris, for Boris Karloff, who played Frankenstein, someone puts Shelley, someone else puts a monster, and so we have to get these guesses. If anybody shares a guess, that stuff gets eliminated. And so now that person has limited clues to what you're getting to. What is it? Getting to choose what their clue is. Because if you guess wrong, you lose 2 cards. Your goal is to try to either guess all 13 cards or just get as high of a score as you can. I think my highest score so far is 8.
Yep.
Bryce made an argument for Sushi Go Party, even though his pick apparently is just one. Is that plus about Sushi Go Party, the extra stuff made the game more replayable, and I agree.
Yep.
The
Whereas just
base
one.
game.
Yeah.
The thing is, with just one, it can get a little samey if you cycle through all the cards. And I have not seen every single card, and I haven't even seen every single choice on a card because again, there's 5 selections per card, and if I pick 5 on a card, I may not see that card again for a
Right.
while, or I may pick a different number on it. And so there is replayability on that aspect, and it goes down so well because people are having fun. It could hold up to 7 people, and honestly, it could probably hold up to more people.
Yeah.
It just might become a little more easy, just because you might be getting more clues. But it could become a lot harder because more clues are getting eliminated because people are going for the same choice. Because you don't want to go for the easiest answer, just in case someone else picks that term.
Right. No,
And my thing with the argument with just one too is in this time right now, while we're all
self-isolating.
in social isolation, basically self-isolation, is that you can, and Bryce just said it too. It's a good game to play over Zoom or Facebook Messenger or however you want to do your video feeds. All you need is a pen and paper if you don't have the game.
Yeah.
You just put the card up to the camera, and that's actually what we've been doing recently. Is we just put the card up to the camera. Whoever's turn it is, it just doesn't look, and then so they just pick their number. Usually we do something like that, and someone picks their number, and we all give our clues, put it up to the camera. If it's eliminated, they don't get those answers. It's gone very well over camera, and I enjoy the mess out of this game.
Cool. Yeah.
And it's a Spiel des Jahres winner of last year.
Yep, that's right. It did win last year. I imagine that the new, I think fairly soon, the new nominees are going to be announced within this next month or two, for this year. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think for a party setting, if you had enough people for either of them, the first one I'd probably pick out is just one because it reminds me a lot of Party Playoff. You know, but you're all working together.
And the thing with just one too is that it's one of those party games that we just talked about with Mysterium and Deception, is that a bunch of people can get into it without having to really overthink. Because like when you go Sushi Go Party, you're trying to think, okay, do I want to take this card that's going to help me, or do I want to take this card because it's going to hurt them?
Right.
And so with just one, you're just all working together, having fun, trying to figure out what the word is. And for me, that's why just one is my pick.
Cool. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. Sushi Go is a phenomenal game, and it's one of like my all time favorites. And Sushi Go Party just makes it so much better. But Mysterium is just it hits the table so well in a party. So.
Just one.
What did I say?
You said Mysterium.
Oh yeah, just one. Yep, that's what I meant. But just one just hits the table perfectly. So just one is moving on. All right.
Okay, so we have our semifinals.
We have our
Codenames versus Mysterium, and we got Just One versus Decrypto.
Interesting.